The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a Monday edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC studios as we are done with the mini bye, everybody. It is back to work for the Dallas Cowboys. It is back to work for Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. We've got Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Gentlemen, hope you enjoyed your long weekend.
I did.
Got a little extra rest.
A little bit. The rest was good.
Got some baseball on the way.
Yeah, that was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Stressful day for me today. For those who haven't opened their eyes and seen my attire today, my Braves are up against it. Got to win one.
You got to win one,
yeah,
right?
Just one.
Only one, because
only
if you
one.
sweep,
If we sweep the Mets, then the Diamondbacks get in.
Yeah.
If we split with the Mets, then we and the Mets get in, and the Diamondbacks are out. If the Mets sweep us,
you think there's a gentleman's agreement there between the two teams?
You
that
would
are playing?
think so, but hate.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. But I will say, I think it's a situation where if we can go ahead and win the first game, then we'll probably throw some AAA arm.
Yeah.
At
It'll
the
be
Mets,
Patrik
because we got
Walker out there.
There you go.
Warmed up.
Because then we gotta plan for the wild card, and then that does help the Mets. So the Diamondbacks are kind of behind the eight ball. That's their problem. We just need to get our win.
Yeah.
So stress. And then my dogs, I know you guys saw Saturday.
Bro.
Man, that was a game. That was a game.
Bro.
That was a game. And I knew I was not going to come here. I was not going to come here and give you a hard time about the Bulldogs.
I wasn't going to give you a hard time either.
That was a great game.
That game was a instant classic of a football game.
It was. But, for all intents and purposes, it was a damn good sports weekend. Cowboys won on Thursday to start it off.
Yes.
Dogs at least, showed some fight. Braves handled business in 2 consecutive days, and now we just need to handle business today.
It doesn't help when there's a cyborg that plays for Alabama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, Ryan
Kid
Williams
was 17 years old.
Ryan Williams
17.
may be my new favorite player ever, of all time.
Genuinely insane.
The play where
let's game on the line. Let's do one-on-one with no with no safety high on him. Let's do that.
Yeah, that wasn't really a smart move.
Yeah,
right after you take the lead for the first time after trailing 30-7 or whatever it was.
17. He's clearly a freshman then.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He left high school
freshman.
early to enroll at Alabama.
Wow.
By
He's
like a
doing what
year
he's
and a
doing.
half. Like it was way early to enroll.
Man.
He's a
and
monster.
it's not only a starter, but as a dude.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
How tall is he?
He's only like 5'10", or maybe
He's like a
shorter.
Devontae
Yeah,
Smith
he's.
build.
Let me see. I'll
It's
give you
all right.
an
The
accurate.
Eagles lost too, so that also.
Yeah, that helps. To
That
add on to the weekend.
That was sensational. Sensational.
And you also have Aaron Rodgers losing.
Yeah.
You also have the Packers losing. It was just kind of
this is good.
I found myself yesterday.
Commanders ruined it, but it's okay.
Sitting at home yesterday and just looking up and down the slate of NFL games and saying, you know what? The Cowboys, it wasn't pretty on Thursday.
No.
You can definitely critique what happened, but a win is a win. And we said that on Friday. That energy doesn't change. But whenever you see the Bears beating the Rams, the Vikings absolutely torching the Packers again,
At home.
the Colts beating the Steelers, the Broncos beating the Jets, the Bucks beating the Eagles. You go up and down the list of the NFL yesterday.
It's delicious.
I'm good with a win.
Yeah.
Give me the win. Give me 2-2. I'm okay. It's not perfect, and there's a long way to go for this football team. But in the grand scheme of the NFL, anything can happen any given Sunday. You hear it all the time. I thought yesterday was a great example of that.
It's almost like it's hard to win a game in the NFL.
Yeah.
Rumor has it.
Yeah, according to Pro Football
has it.
Focus.
It's difficult.
Those other guys also get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Man, get your win
Kinda works
however
that
you
way.
can and look to improve. And we talked about it on Friday. It was like, don't hang the banner after beating the New York Giants. But it's still a win. It's a win in the conference. It's a win in the division. And then a couple days 3 days after that, you see the Eagles get blown out by a conference opponent in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now they're at 2-2, and they look like they're the ones that are in shambles, right? So funny how week-to-week league, baby. Funny how the storylines change week to week. So the Cowboys just need to start taking advantage of this, though. They need to start taking advantage of teams like the 49ers struggling, the Rams struggling, the Eagles struggling, and maybe try to create some distance. And you got to catch Sam Darnold. I can't believe I just said that. You have to catch Sam Darnold and the undefeated Vikings as well. So you want to close that gap.
Oh, man. Thank God. This is like the first year in God knows how long the Vikings are not on the schedule for the Cowboys, and I'm thankful for that.
Hey, Sam Darnold.
Because Sam Darnold.
MVP talks.
Legit.
Just like we all predicted. Am I right?
Yeah. I had that on my bingo card. Did you?
I said it on February 96.
Sweet. Yeah. Everybody go back and check the tape.
The first of Neverwary.
Neverwary. Ryan Williams is listed at 6 foot. That's a lie. He's less than 6 foot.
5'11" or something.
Yeah.
5'12".
Yeah.
When he takes his arch supports out, he's
somewhere around there.
But dude is a cyborg. Genuine.
Yeah,
unbelievable player.
And in all respect, I know it's quite genuine football hate between us and Alabama. But much like on Twitter, had fun watching the game with Roll Tide guys and gals on Twitter. It was nothing but respect after a game like that.
100%.
Nothing but respect.
I don't know how else you handle it. You know.
I mean, there are other ways to handle it. But
I don't know why you would do that when it was a game like that.
It's a heavyweight bout, 12 rounds.
Exactly that.
Almost 13.
Yeah.
Time will
tell.
And
Bama just happens to be y'all's Niners.
But you know what? I think right. But what I think will happen to that point is I think that if you look at how we came alive in the second half, this might be a situation where, because our offense had been struggling to find, without Bowers and McConkey, that we've been struggling to find who's the downfield threat, who's the explosive guy. Supposed to be Lovett, supposed to be Bell. But, we woke up, and maybe this is the pivot point for our offense, because we got a gauntlet to finish.
Yeah.
We got to go to Auburn, and I mean, we have other things to take care of. So hopefully we'll see them again down the road. You hear that, Bama? We're coming for more.
About to awaken.
Coming for more. But later for that, Braves win, and later for that, Cowboys won. Love that. Eagles lost. And now let's talk about what the Cowboys are up against adversity-wise.
Yeah, that was kind of going to be my transition. It was a great football weekend. Lots of good distraction, lots of opportunity to kind of get away from the Cowboys, but you can never truly get away from the Cowboys.
Never.
And Micah Parsons.
Have you been on ESPN?
Yeah. DeMarcus Lawrence. Have you ever tuned in? Yeah, both guys out for maybe longer than initially anticipated. We came on here Friday and said, you know what? Micah said he was good. DLaw didn't seem super serious, whatever it may be. Sure enough, it's pretty serious for both guys.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. So kind of a mixed bag of news. Let's start with the bad.
Yeah, DeMarcus
Lawrence, after the game, he said that he was in pain with his foot, but he said that he kind of downplayed it, which players tend to do. News came out that it is a foot sprain, not a fracture. That is key to remember, because DeMarcus has dealt with a foot fracture before that cost him a lot of time not so long ago. So good news is no fractures. The X-rays were clean. The MRIs were clean in that regard. They were seeking a second opinion per Stephen Jones on Friday, but DeMarcus Lawrence is likely to be out upwards of 4+ weeks. So he is a prime IR candidate. I would go ahead and pencil him out for the next 4 weeks. What works in the Cowboys' favor is one of those weeks is a bye. So there's that. Micah Parsons, much better news, but there's an asterisk next to his. He's been deemed as week to week by Stephen Jones and the Cowboys. Okay, so he's not been ruled out versus the Steelers. Stephen Jones made sure to make that clear. He also said that he was seeking a second opinion, Micah Parsons was, to see what that looks like. They're coming off of a mini bye. What did that extra 2 or 3 days of rest look like for Micah? We'll know as early as this Wednesday when they get back to the practice field to prepare for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it does sound like even if Micah Parsons misses this game, and maybe even the Detroit Lions game, he has a solid shot of being on the field against the San Francisco 49ers. So much better news on that front. But however you slice it, DeMarcus Lawrence is going to miss some time. And if Micah Parsons misses any amount of time in conjunction with that, you're without your 2 best edge guys, period. So you got to figure that out. And there are some real question marks there.
It'd be nice to have Sam Williams, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose. So as it went,
Yeah.
you lost Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler to free agency.
Yep.
They went with Dan Quinn and the Commanders. And then Sam Williams was tasked with stepping up. He tears his ACL at the beginning of training camp. So then it's the Marshawn Nealon show. Fantastic. I love it. Problem is he can't be in three places at the same time.
No, he cannot.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I haven't figured that one out on the scouting report
no,
yet.
it's just it's not happening. It's
good
not
try.
happening.
Should have looked that up on
Worth a shot.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, who steps up?
Yeah.
In addition to Marshawn Nealon, because yes, Nealon is going to get that many more reps, but it's got to be more than the rookie. So who is it?
Who is it?
Who is it?
That's a great question, Patrick.
Who is it?
What's
the answer, Josh?
I think you gotta have to get some binoculars out and start searching. I don't know, man. I'm of the opinion that 100%. I think you look outside. You look at what's available. Al-Quadin Mohammed was a big name at training camp that we liked.
We thought he'd stick.
We thought he'd stick. He did not. I think that's a possibility there, but I always am in favor of trades. I'm always in favor of building your team through bartering in certain senses. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's what they'll do based on the team that we're talking about.
I mean, it's possible, and we will refrain.
Other
from
teams
saying
have proven
names.
that it is possible.
It is possible, and we will refrain from saying names.
We can't say names.
Yeah, we
can't say names.
But I do think that looking into a possible trade, that should be a viable discussion. I agree with you there. Free agency, you have.
But
names.
is it here?
We'll see. Lose a couple games, and it becomes that much more of a viable conversation.
But you lose games, and then you're like, well, I mean, Micah's coming back. Well, DLaw's coming back. You know what I mean? I think that's how
that's fair. But to that point, I'll say this: it's a Zimmer defense or defensive construct that has shown me in training camp that although not necessarily the biggest traders, they did go and get Jordan Phillips via trade to that point. But they do a lot in free agency under Zimmer, it seems, so far. I'll say that. So, you went in, you got a guy like Carl Lawson. He's going to be tasked with stepping up as well in a huge way.
Yep.
And then you saw how they cycled guys in at the linebacker position. That's how Nick Vigil got here, right?
Yeah.
You saw how they added some more guys. Linval Joseph ended up here as well. Huggins at one point. I mean, they're willing to go into free agency, and there's some names in free agency. Shaq Lawson comes to mind, right?
Yep.
Just as one.
Who didn't want to come here last year.
But to your point, though, Josh, before they start looking outside the building, they're going to look inside the building.
I agree.
And start pointing at guys and saying, you, and you.
I think it goes in order like that. I think it goes in the building. Somebody's got to step up, whether it's Marshawn Nealon, it's some of these other guys that are Lawson, the guys you just mentioned. Then I think the second level of that is get on the phone. See who's out there. See who's available. There's guys, I think if you're looking to make an impact without Parsons and DLaw, you're not going to get it from Shaq Lawson and Randy Gregory on the open market. Like, you're not going to get it from those guys.
On top of that, I think Randy might be done with football.
He might be entirely.
Based on his not back and forth, but based on his short stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Doesn't seem promising.
I think he's done with football.
Yeah.
So there's also.
You can maybe go get Viliami Fehoko, who's still out there still. He was kind of a tweener for you. More so they were trying to push him inside than outside. I mean, you've seen that. You've read that book before. You know how it is.
You have to do that. That's dire straits.
That's what I'm saying. And maybe this is dire straits. We just mentioned how they've lost their top three guys, and you're relying on a rookie to be your top edge rusher. There's not a whole lot of other things that I would say are dire straits in this league. And I think number two on that possibility list, one is inside, see who can step up. Number two is get on the phone and see what you can do in terms of a trade. And then dire straits, you're hitting this list of free agents, guys like Shaq Lawson, Austin Bryant, Raheem Green, Shane Ray, Ellerson Smith, Marquis Haynes. That's it.
Marquis Haynes was one that I looked at as well.
Yeah, those are kind of the only names that are intriguing there. I mentioned Randy Gregory. I tend to I don't agree with you.
I just think that he's done with football.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Do you call this dire straits if it comes to the edge rusher spot? Because I'm pretty close to that.
Well, so here's the problem is you have to look at it contextually as a whole, right? We're coming off, and thankfully, shouts out to guys like Mozzie Smith and that interior offensive or defensive line for showing that they can go up against a run of any sort and stop them.
Period. Yeah.
Any type of run.
Of any type of run. So that's promising, but small sample size as far as the positive nature of that. The bigger sample size is that they struggle against the run because of the interior. So if you struggle against the run because of the interior, and now you're losing, especially
Edge
DeMarcus
contain.
Lawrence, arguably
Your
the
best run
best
stopper.
edge defender against the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say this is dire straits, right? I could say that, and I would be well within my rights to do so. I think Marshawn Nealon moves over to that side with DeMarcus Lawrence was playing, and he gets to start there. And Marshawn Nealon is a monster at stopping the run on the edge. He absolutely is.
We've said it since camp. He's Tate Jr.
But he's likely not going to play 100% of the defensive snaps. So who rotates in with him, right?
But I kind of I'm looking at the linebackers now, right?
And it applies more stress to the linebackers.
It's going to make the interior have to play better. They're going to have to take a step up. But how can you maybe hide some of those inadequacies whenever it comes to edge rushers by using your linebackers in blitz coverage or in blitzes and different things along the way? Because that was one of the big things for Maris Leofau out of the draft was the fact that Mike Zimmer can disguise a blitz with Maris Leofau and then bring either late pressure or just bring it on the interior or on the edge. Maybe you do the same thing with DeMarvion Overshown. A lot of those guys are able to do multiple things. How do you hide it if you have some of those lapses in terms of edge talent?
I mean, to kind of go back to your question about dire straits, I think 2 games isn't dire straits. I think at least for this team now, it is about disguising blitzes. It is about managing the team that you do have currently and being able to stop the run. But I think that just opens up windows for passes down the middle. The tight end.
That's the problem.
The tight end game, I think, which we've struggled with in the past. I think that to me is it's a red flag. But I don't think it's dire straits at the moment.
And I'll say this: to answer your question, Kyle, if you're going to lean and you're going to lean more heavily on your linebackers, does that mean you run more, 4-3 base to keep 3 linebackers out there so you can disguise and send one, et cetera, et cetera? But then that takes a defensive back off the field.
Yep.
You're running less nickel against, teams that maybe want to run more 12 personnel. They want to get the tight end involved up the seam. It sacrifices coverage to support the run. And sometimes it'll work, and sometimes you'll get burned. So you just gotta be careful with that. And that's the problem with this. So I can agree that it's not necessarily dire straits yet, and that's why I paused after you posed the question, Kyle, because it's kind of like until I see it, I can't really be too concerned or too thrilled about it. But red flag is the better way to put it. It's most certainly a red flag.
Absolutely.
It's something to worry about, and I think over the next 2 games, I mean, I'm looking at Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth. You talk about 12 personnel and capable tight ends, capable running backs. Those 2 are capable for the Steelers. And then you go up against Detroit, and it's a step up in both regards.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, you've got guys that you're going to have to stop out of these next 2 weeks. Oh, and by the way, you've got the 49ers after the bye. So hopefully by that point after the bye, if all is well, then maybe Micah's back, and then you have to wait a little bit longer for DLaw. But we talked about how important this stretch is for the Cowboys and how crucial it could be to how this season unfolds, and not having those 2 guys on your team, I think it is dire straits in terms of the edge rusher position. They're going to have somebody either step up significantly, or maybe that phone's got to start ringing.
Now, as far as the pass rush is concerned, it's not a red flag. It is dire straits.
Yeah.
Because the past 2 games, they've not been able to get significant pressure.
Even with DLaw.
Even with DLaw
and
and Micah Parsons, they've not been able to get to the quarterback as far as sacks are concerned. So if you're talking about defending the run, red flag. Marshawn can maybe step in, set that edge, Carl Lawson. But when it comes to getting after the quarterback,
rush.
you just lost maybe. We'll see if Micah misses the Steelers game. But maybe for a game-ish, you're without a generational pass rusher. And you're without who is currently the team leader in sacks in DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yep.
So as a pass rush team, you are in dire straits. Yeah. Who steps up in that capacity? That's where it really becomes a question. And then with the run defense, not only does it stress the linebackers to try to figure out, okay, maybe we'll run more base so we can send a third linebacker at the edges to kind of help seal that against the run, up the middle, kind of disrupt that. But the stress moves backwards. So it goes from the defensive front to the linebackers. And now because the linebackers are more stressed, now the safeties have to do more work against 12 personnel and Gibbs and Laporta and the tight end coverage. the stress just simply resonates backward, and that's not what you want, because then what happens is you get cooked over the top.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm tired of being sad. I'm tired of being.
I'm not sad yet.
I'm sad
The
right
Eagles
now.
lost.
I'm sad because I don't want the. I don't want.
We had a good
Micah
weekend of
to-
football.
Reminder.
Yeah.
Cauboys won. Eagles lost.
That's true.
Adversity happens.
Everything's
it's the
a great
NFL.
week.
No excuses. Figure it out and go win the damn game.
Sounds good. I like it, Pat. With that being said, I wrote an article this past weekend
Yeah,
on
you
High
did.
Five.
Let's
It
go.
was
DallasCowboys.com.
5 reasons to be optimistic moving forward after the first month of football. We'll talk about it, and we'll give our own reasons to be optimistic for this Cowboys team when we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys after this. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Yep. Gotta
Live
swallow,
from the
bro.
Star
Gotta swallow.
in Frisco, Texas. Pause. This segment is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, trusted since 1877. Back here with Josh Rodriguez, Patrik Walker. I'm Kyle Youmans with Chris Beam in the back. All right. High five. So this is an article series that I began back in training camp, and it's
Great
basically,
series, man.
I have a lot of fun writing it, and
It's
so
good.
I really appreciate it.
Really good stuff.
This was Josh's idea to put it on the show. Actually, he kind of gave me the idea last week. Sorry, dude.
Fumble.
That's what you get for giving good ideas.
Fumble.
'Cause you get coffee spilled on the table. It's just a little bit.
Care, that's a white shirt he's got on too.
Yeah,
you
dude, that would not
really
be good.
try to take
I don't think it's splashed
We're
that
good.
way. I think we're good. All right, but high five. It's basically every week on Friday, I release a top 5 list of whatever topic I feel like is relevant for the week. So on certain occasions, it's biggest dual threats that the Cowboys face on the season. Top 5 moments all time between the Cowboys and the Saints. This past week, though, I did top 5 reasons to remain optimistic after the first month of football.
I like it.
And the way that I put it is September football, Mike McCarthy's talked about it, and it's never perfect. Even if you're 4-0, like the Minnesota Vikings, I think everything is as close to perfect as you can get. But I guarantee you, if you ask
they're coming down to
Sam Darnold, you ask anybody, it's not perfect. It's rarely pretty. It's rarely good-looking football. But the fact that the Cowboys emerged at 2-2, did what they needed to do, and won 2 games they probably should have won, and they lost 1 game they probably shouldn't have lost, and that would be the Saints.
The Saints.
So I would have said 3-1 was a ceiling for this team after 1 month of football. They're 2-2. That's 1 game off. I'm okay. I gave 5 reasons to be optimistic moving forward, and I'm going to start with number 5 here. Number 5 is the fact that not only are you getting better on that defensive line, but your offensive line and Cooper Beebe is showing some solid stuff moving forward. I like what I've seen from Cooper Beebe. Again, not perfect, but in terms of a guy that's stepping into a starting role, switching positions, moving from guard in college to the center position in the NFL, I think he's done a phenomenal job to this point, and he's starting to become an anchor of your offensive line.
Right, absolutely. And you also have to give Tyler Guyton some credit, too. I know it hasn't been pretty. All of these games have not, but...
It's also a much more difficult position to be plopped into. We talked about this. Starting 100%. Left tackle, you're on an island.
Yep.
You are on an island, and you're being isolated, and it's right into the fire. So he's shown flashes of what he can be, and he's shown flashes of struggles. And like we talked about, he just needs to stay off of the officials' radar as far as holding is concerned, because now they're flagging him even when it's not a thing. But when you talk about Cooper Beebe, shouts out to Coupe de Ville, because he is looking quite luxurious.
Not the Coupe de Ville.
Yeah, Coupe de Ville. Right, okay. He's looking quite luxurious as these games begin to go on. 4 games in, he's only had arguably one bad game, which was the game against the Ravens when he allowed 3 pressures. But again, the entire offensive line was basically a turnstile in that game. So it's kind of a butterfly effect all the way down the line, the front 5. But, 0 pressures allowed, hell of a bounce back game against the New York Giants, against one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. So for all the fun you can make of the New York Giants, and yeah, they're a bad team overall, that defensive line is not to be fooled around with Dexter Lawrence and guys.
No.
And Cooper Beebe did more than hold his own. So shouts out to Coupe de Ville, and shouts out to him making Kyle's high five.
Boom.
Deservedly so.
So
100%.
the way that I put it on here, too, it was out of all of the 5 starting offensive linemen, he has the second lowest pressure percentage, which is supposed to happen from your center. Your center is not supposed to allow a ton of pressures. But remember,
now,
in context, change of position, rookie, center, all the turnstiles on the outside of the offensive line, there's a lot of things going on there. Only Tyler Smith has a lower percentage than Cooper Beebe. He has a lower percentage than Zach Martin, has a lower percentage than Terrence Steele, and, of course, a lower percentage than Tyler Guyton as well. So I like what I've seen so far, 22 pass snaps and 0 pressures against New York. And, of course, an ability to anchor that offensive line is a big thing. Number 4, how about special teams success for the Cowboys?
Big.
I mean, do they have the best special teams unit in football right now? I think it's hard to argue against it.
Well, they have the best special teams coordinator in all of football.
They also have the best kicker in all of football.
You're darn right.
And possibly the best kicker in all of football currently. Justin Tucker is not that guy anymore.
Arguably the best returner, which is why he gets kicked away from all the time.
There you go.
I'm going to say yeah.
You could say your top 5 in punters too.
I'm going to say yeah.
Brian Anger is
Brian
Anger's a top 5
Brian
punter
Anger
in the league.
A weapon.
I mean, just
Trent Sieg.
Sieg has been perfect so far. It hasn't had a mistake.
No mistakes.
No mistakes. You have the best kicker in the league. You have possibly a top 5, top 10 punter, and maybe a top 5 returner.
Yes, I would say top 5 returner.
I would say that's the best special teams unit in football in terms of the big name special teamers, right? I mean, special teams unit like kick coverage, punt return, punt coverage, that kind of thing. That's all, I guess, I'm just looking for the word here. That's all relative.
You also have very impactful role players on special teams. C.J. Goodwin, for example. You just got reminded of how impactful a guy like C.J. Goodwin is. And for those that were wondering coming into the season, well, why is C.J. Goodwin still taking up a roster spot?
Because of that onside kick.
Because of that onside kick. You get that onside kick, and are you still asking that question? No, you shouldn't have been asking it in the first place.
That's a spot. That's worth the spot right there.
That's why.
Yeah. Number 3, more snaps for DeMarvion Overshown.
Yes.
I know you guys like that.
We're seeing it.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
He's starting to, he's not only, and by more snaps, I mean just playing football, just being out there and getting better. He is having more snaps and more appearances in base, which I think all of us
which
were
is
kind
what
of
we were asking for.
We finally got that
demanding.
going.
Yeah, well, you've seen, at least the coaches have handled him as a sort of a ramp-up period. You know what I mean? He had a ramp-up period this season. He wasn't even starting over Maris Leafau. Now that's over, but he has not one snap played like he's been ramping up to anything.
Right.
That guy's been a cheetah. He's been going from 0 to 100
real quick
with an anger,
real quick,
a vigorous anger,
a Brian anger.
I see what you
Brian
did
anger.
There. There's a little bit of Tarantino in it.
A little bit.
You think that's high enough for Overshown, number 3 on that list?
I probably would have went as high as top 2.
Wow. Okay.
He had a real
not
coming out
high
party.
enough.
I'd say because look at the games that he wasn't necessarily a headliner in were the games where it was mostly base and they hadn't involved him more so in the base. But when they unleashed him versus Cleveland, they unleashed him versus the Giants, he stole the show in both circumstances. And this is a guy who, again, although technically he's not a rookie, in reality he's a rookie.
Yeah.
So you talk about contextually for a guy like Cooper Beebe, right? Apply the
Use
same
scientific context.
apply science. Apply that same context to a guy like DeMarvion Overshown, who, unlike Cooper Beebe, is also returning from a torn ACL, in addition to having never taken an NFL snap prior to what he did in Cleveland. So I'm comfortable going top 2 as far as potential coming out of September. I said this after the Cleveland game. Might have even been before Cleveland, but I'll say after Cleveland. He has Pro Bowl rookie season written all over him.
Could be,
dude.
yeah.
So if that's the case,
people love him.
How can he not be viewed in the top 2 spots?
He just has that passion. Clearly,
he's having a blast too. Dude.
You see it on the field. He's just a ball of energy. He really is.
There's a shot, a video shot from Drew Ferguson's team. I don't know who specifically. Drew's team does a great job, but it was at MetLife Stadium after the national anthem. There's fireworks in the background. The lights are still kind of off, and it's like ambiance of like blue lighting, really for the Giants, but it just shined off of the white uniforms, and he had his helmet off, and he was just smiling. It looked like he was laughing.
Ear to ear.
Just joyful, and it was really cool. It was refreshing to see. Of course, if they would have lost the game, I don't want to see anything like that. However, the fact that they won the game, he played so well, and it was prior to the opening of that football game. I thought it was a cool thing to see. I thought it was a really cool shot. Whoever got it, shout out to you.
That guy's a football player, and he's having the time of his life, and he's just getting started.
Yeah, and I think he appreciates the journey that it took to come back from the injury.
He does.
I think a lot of guys are just like, you know what, that was time that's wasted. That's a portion of my life I don't want to get through. I think Overshown learned from that time, and you can see it being applied day in, day out.
It was so unceremonious, and granted, no injury is going to be ceremonious. Yeah, but it happened in the preseason, and then it was just done. You know, it's like, oh, okay, he was shining, he was doing great. We were all really hyped, like, oh my God, are you seeing this guy out here? And then unceremoniously, went out in the Jags game, which was really tough. Seahawks game, which was really tough, and then to see him come back the way that he has.
Yeah. It was like 11 p.m. Central Time whenever it happened. Like, it was late at night. It was a 9 p.m. Central kick. It was like in the middle of the second quarter.
I still have not caught up on sleep from that day.
Yeah, me neither, dude.
This is
shocking.
This is a guy in DeMarvion Overshown who made his rehab time as productive as possible every second. It was either spent with, reflecting on the journey and the appreciation of the journey to get back, or it was swatting flies to improve reaction time.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
He's a dude.
I love it.
He's a dude.
By the way, if you want to add one of your own topics to this list, or you disagree with the 1 through 5, 817-290-3298 is the text line. I'm going to read some of the text messages here in a second. 817-290-3298. Shoot us a text if you disagree with the top 5 list, and if you want to add another topic to it, go for it. Let's do it. Number 2, DaRon Bland eyeing a return. And I kind of led this off of Patrick's article that was also on DallasCowboys.com. And it was about Mike McCarthy alluded to the mini bye as the first real weekend where you can see the timeline develop for DaRon Bland. And all signs, at least right now, are pointing to a return sooner than anticipated. So I don't think that's going to be this week. They got to start his 21-day practice window. Exactly. So it's not something immediate, but over the near future, you're going to get an all-pro cornerback back on your defense.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Would you rather have him for the Lions game or for the Niners game?
I would rather have him for the Lions game, because then I can also have him for the Niners game.
But wouldn't you want to give him a little bit extra time? I don't know. I feel like it's most important.
You're saying play it conservative?
I think the answer to that question lies in how effective or ineffective this pass rush looks against the Steelers. Because if your pass rush continues to struggle, guess what? You're going to need better coverage.
Yeah.
Right. And if that's the case, then you're about to go up against, Jared Goff and his weapons, and St. Brown, and Sam Laporta and Gibbs. And so I would rather have him back for the Lions. Now, we're having this talk again. This is conjecture. Yeah, this is speculative, and this is conjecture, folks, because it's going to be up to the Cowboys. 21-day practice window has to be activated first. I'm of the belief that happens this week as far as them opening that window. And for those that don't know the technicality of it, once that 21-day window is open, Cowboys have 21 days to either put him on the active roster or he reverts to season-ending IR. So you also got to be careful when you open up that window, because when it closes until the next season.
Yeah.
But I think that this is when they open it, because you look at the schedule and the bye week inclusive and everything. I think this is the good time. I think that's kind of what McCarthy was hinting at when I was asking him directly at, what's the timeline on Bland. He was like, well, not always, but since the injury happened, we were looking at leading into week 5 in the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we'll have more data, then we'll have a better look at him. Feels like they're going to, because he reappeared at practice before the Ravens game, as a matter of fact. So he's been out there on the sideline getting his rehab work in. So I think this is when it happens. But as far as when he comes back, we don't know yet. But I would like to see him back for the Lions if he's ready.
They got weapons. You got to be concerned about that, especially. They played at night, so we haven't really seen him. Yet.
Brand new uniforms tonight too. All black jerseys, all black. And then they got the blue helmet.
They've had all black jerseys before.
But the blue, it's it's almost like this blue helmet, and it's got like a black interior stripe. It's kind of the black logo. It's pretty sweet. It's cool. They look good.
What if we ever did a black uniform?
Oh, man, I would love it.
Right?
I'm all for it. North Texas had some sweet black uniforms this past weekend.
North Texas uniforms lately,
have been
top
going
notch.
off. Yeah, top notch.
I don't like green like that, but
same record as Georgia too. They're both 4-1. How about that? Might as well. I mean, it's the same thing here.
You want to add some context?
Our both of our quarterbacks led the league in passing this past week, 469 yards.
You want to add some context?
50 burger.
Yeah, one team had a 50 burger, and another team didn't.
Shouts out to Mean Green. You're doing your thing. I'm not going to poo on your parade. You're doing your thing, Mean Green. Shouts out.
Mean Green by 40.
There are levels to this, though.
All right.
There are levels to this.
number one on this week's high five in terms of reasons to be optimistic moving forward, Dak Prescott's 2023 encore is the way that I have it. And he, of course, number 2 in MVP voting last year. The way that he's played this year is just as good. He's been
Jalen
just
Hurts
as
is
good.
Better. Am I right, guys?
I want nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. Period. I think it may be cliche, and I said that in the article. It may be cliche just because Dak's your quarterback one, he's your guy, but he's playing super good football, and if he's playing good football, then you've got a shot.
Cliche or not, that's the guy.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
It begins and ends.
It begins and ends with Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys.
They being the offense, they just got to stop leaving meat on the bone. You left meat on the bone in Cleveland after you got Brandon Cooks involved. You went on a 2-game struggle, 2+ game struggle. You didn't come alive again until the fourth quarter against the Ravens. You were able to successfully carry that over into the first half against the Giants. Yep. And then you kind of went cold again.
Pitter-pattered.
Right.
Yep.
So consistency has to be the name of the game here. But yeah, Dak Prescott, he's carrying because your defense is struggling and you're 2-2.
And your wide receivers are
struggling.
Your run game's non-existent.
So
he's still out there throwing for 350.
Right. You're not getting production from tight ends not named Jake Ferguson.
Yep.
So yeah, and against the Ravens, again, turnstile offensive line, the pressure was there. And he's still producing. So does he have some throws he would like back? Absolutely. I mean, I could show you a list of throws that he would like back.
Want him back.
Also true, I could show you a list of throws that not many other quarterbacks could have made in the face of the pressure that he was up against. So he's carrying. And if October football can be cleaner and more consistently dynamic for the offense, and that goes to the weapons around Dak Prescott, then we might be talking a little less about the defense needing DeMarcus Lawrence back so quickly because the offense can be carrying. But we've seen Dak Prescott in this offense, not this specific offense, but we've seen Dak Prescott carry this team in 100%. Years past when the defense was just not pre-Dan Quinn era, when you couldn't buy a stop and Dak was throwing for 40 touchdowns and 4,900 yards. So, yeah.
I think it's going to have to look a lot like that Dak Prescott in order for us to win these next like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to see him absolutely bomb it throughout the next 3 games. A stat that Nick Harris tweeted out that is kind of surprising to me is that CeeDee Lamb has disappeared from the Dallas Cowboys in the second half of nearly every game this season. So in Cleveland, he had 1 reception for 3 yards. New Orleans, 0 receptions. Baltimore, 1 reception, 9 yards. Giants, 1 reception for 4 yards.
Meat on the bone.
You need to find CD in the second half. And I know that obviously the Baltimore game was notwithstanding, you know what I mean? That's an outlier, obviously, as far as CD goes. But there are 3 other games right there where he has 1 or 0 receptions.
Yeah.
You got to find him in the second half.
Got to find a way to get it done. All right, let's take our second break. When we come back, quick look around the NFL, and we'll set you up for a Talkin' Tuesday with more Talkin' Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
This segment of Talking Cowboys is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. As we welcome you back in, final segment with Patrik Walker Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. All right, real quickly here, guys. We're running out of time. We talked a little too much Cowboys, which tends to happen on a show called Talking Cowboys.
That happens.
Around the
we're
NFL,
not just hanging, we're talking.
We're talking. Around the NFL, most surprising team so far. Who you got?
Most surprising team in the NFL so far, it's got to be Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings.
Think I'm right there with
It's got to be. And it's not simply because the Vikings are 4-0. I think we all agreed that they would be competitive. But when you look at, you lose your rookie, and then Sam Darnold comes in, and we know the history of Sam Darnold in this league, and you're like, yeah, okay. All right. They're just going to have to try to figure things out going forward. Sam Darnold is like, you don't have to figure a damn thing out.
He's like, I'm 27 years old, and we're going to fight for an MVP award and home field advantage in the NFC.
Sam Darnold,
how does that sound?
And Justin Jefferson are going off. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it's the Vikings and Sam Darnold.
And I think this says a lot about Justin Jefferson, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
everybody already respected
anybody.
him. Yeah, the respect was already super high for how talented he is. But the fact that he just stepped in and got rid of one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and fight me on it, Kirk Cousins is still a good quarterback. Let me be completely honest here. He leaves, goes to Atlanta. They bring in a rookie, still looks great with the rookie in training camp before the injury or whatever that may be. And then there's Sam Darnold, and this dude's acting like he's catching passes from Peyton Manning back there. I mean, it's really impressive what Justin Jefferson's
There's only one
doing.
other receiver that only one receiver that I believe tops Justin Jefferson in the argument of he can be great no matter who the quarterback is. It's Terry McLaurin.
Ooh, interesting.
That guy, he's been really good. Despite their quarterback play prior to Jaden Daniels being really bad.
Yeah, I don't know if his ceiling is the same.
No.
Justin Jefferson.
As far as talent levels are concerned, Justin Jefferson is above.
But being malleable,
but as far as being able to
anybody.
produce at a high level, regardless of who is throwing you the ball,
I could see that.
I think Terry is.
I could see that.
Right there.
He's up there.
And not a lot of players have that sample size. Not a lot of players have that sort of what's the word I'm
Bad
looking
quarterback play.
I was going to say incontinuity, but yes. Just bad quarterbacks on their roster that they keep throwing to them. And, you've seen, I don't know that you would see that with other receivers on this team. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to tell.
I mean, it's CD.
We're not going to know.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah. We're not going to know.
Like CD, his production
Dak's a
took a
dude.
step back when Dak was injured, and when Dak reappeared, CD, became CD again. So, and it's not a knock to CD. It's just
that's how it is.
It kind of is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't.
All right, surprising for me, because Patrick already said the Vikings, I'm going to go with the Falcons. I'm going to go with the Falcons because, like you said,
everybody that Kirk Cousins has had an impact on, right?
Kirk Cousins is a dude. He really is a dude. Like I'm not going to play around. No, he's a damn good quarterback.
I think so too.
I think he's up there with Dak on terms of ability, on terms of decision making for the most part.
Dak is better, but I see what you're saying.
But like a hair. You know what I mean? I think they're right there in the conversation.
Their numbers are actually super comparable.
100%.
I think Kirk is elite
Playoff
in
as well
in how he doesn't get rattled because he's seen it all.
Yeah.
And you can in those
that
in those close games you could see. I mean, they almost took the Chiefs down in Atlanta. If not for what you could argue as a DPI that should have been called in the end zone, then maybe they do take the Chiefs down in Atlanta. So I think it goes to the fact that Kirk has been in the league so long, he's seen it all, and he's like Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah,
he is.
Primetime Kirk is not a thing anymore.
No.
Yeah, it's not a thing anymore.
No.
I loved his.
They play on Thursday this week, by the way.
His press conference earlier, or it was yesterday after he was talking. It's like, so what's the difference like being in Atlanta? He's like, there was this really cool thing where the stadium was like doing a swag and surf, and like he was,
bless his heart.
Yeah, he was like, I like that when they were like swaying back and forth. And
you like that?
You like, yeah, he liked that.
Kirk went to Atlanta and got some Magic City wings, and they
took the chains with him from the plane.
Things changed up a little bit.
He's got a little sauce to him, but I think the NFC conference as a whole, there are a lot of really good teams.
It's
in the
wide
NFC
open.
Conference. It really is, and
which is why the Cowboys need to start stacking.
However, if you look at the back half of the Cowboys season, and granted, you still have to be a really good team to make the playoffs, no doubt. But I think if you look towards the back half of their season, there's plenty of room to make up. There's plenty of room to make up, regardless of what their record is at Thanksgiving.
Most disappointing team so far this season.
Josh, what you got?
The fact that the Eagles somehow keep winning ball games.
That's disappointing.
That's disappointing to me because they're a.
You sure about that?
You sure about that?
You sure about that?
Sure about that? They're not a great team. They really aren't. They shouldn't have the record that they have currently. They should probably be 1-3 in my opinion. It's disappointing to me that they've won any games at all.
That they exist, actually.
It's disappointing that they exist on this earth.
Yeah,
there's already a team in Pennsylvania. Like just
leave it to one.
Just leave it to one.
And starting next week, we can leave that team too.
Get rid of them, dude.
I'm going to the AFC with this one. It's got to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's got to be Jacksonville.
0-4.
0-4. And Doug Peterson was brought in to be the QB whisperer for Trevor Lawrence, and Lawrence gets the mega bag, and for all the flack that Cowboys quarterbacks get, and Dak Prescott being the latest one, he got his bag and all this pressure, and 100%, I get it. But then when you look at a smaller market and like Jacksonville, they gave Trevor Lawrence a record-setting bag at the time, and now they're 0-4 after doing so.
Oof.
And now Doug Peterson is on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And he went from
scorching.
He went from the ice cold seat to the hot seat in a matter of 4 games.
Yeah.
So for me, the Jaguars are the most disappointing right now.
I'll take just to be different here. I'll say Cincinnati, the team that beat Jacksonville this week, for their first win.
The battle of the most disappointing.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, sure they beat Jacksonville, but I don't think anybody expected Jacksonville to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Sure.
With Joe Burrow back in the fold, you could say that about Cincinnati going into the year. doesn't look like that yet. Sure, they've played some tough competition early on. A couple of these games are pretty tough ones overall. I mean, Kansas City, actually, just kidding. They played New England, Kansas City, Washington, and Carolina. Sure yeah, let's not get carried away here. So, yeah, I'll say Cincinnati is my disappointing team.
But Joey Brr looked actually.
He looked better.
He looked better yesterday.
He looked better
against a most disappointing Jacksonville
Jaguars. I just wanted to say Joey Brr. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not handing out excuses because Cowboys don't get any. So
this is going to be a funny answer. Your current MVP right now,
Sam Darnold.
Is it Sam Darnold?
How can it not be?
I mean,
it's weird to say. It tastes strange on the tongue when you say it. But through the first 4 weeks,
Bengals beat the Panthers yesterday. Sorry, not Jags.
Through the first 4 weeks, and of course this can change over the course of the next 3 months. Of course it can, but you can't legitimately look me in the face through the first 4 games and say there's a more potent front runner for MVP than Sam Darnold. Expectation versus production. The expectation was I almost said the wrong word. In the sewage. It was in sewage, right? It was in the septic tank.
Yeah.
When they lose the rookie, Sam Darnold comes in. They're like, oh, this season is a wrap. No expectations. And then look at the production.
What would you say?
If we're talking expectations, I think so far your MVP. So far, 4 weeks into the season.
So far.
Jaden Daniels. I think
the expectation is different because look at
the completion percentage, dude, for a rookie.
I told you this is going to be a fun question.
4th game,
I get what you're saying.
82% pass completions. He has thrown 1 interception, man.
Not taking anything away from that young man. He is playing unbelievable.
Yes.
That being said, he was supposed to come in playing unbelievable. That's why you use a pick like that on a quarterback.
I don't think the expectation. I don't think the expectation for Washington was that.
It wasn't that, but it was that he would turn. It was that he would help Dan Quinn turn the culture as quickly as year 1. You agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So then why would you use a high pick on a quarterback like that? Because you expect that it's going to happen as early as year 1.
Year 1 for me, for that team that we saw last year, that team, I don't see that.
New head coach, revamped roster,
I know.
High pick on the quarterback versus
but he's
Minnesota.
having a historically excellent start to his career.
I'm not taking anything away from that. What I'm saying is expectations for Jaden Daniels and the new look Washington Commanders were stratospherically higher than what they were for Sam Darnold coming in supposedly to just manage the losing of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Right. Bus drive as the bus started to topple over the bridge. That's what everybody expected. He's 4-0. And it's not because he's managing the game. He's airing it out.
He is.
So Jaden Daniels, he's playing ridiculous football right now.
A historically great start to his NFL career.
Fair enough.
Historically.
I wish we would have started this segment a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
that's
we gotta go.
Good stuff. Yeah. We've got to go. My MVP.
He's a 4th round comp pick doing that.
MVP so far, Chandler Morris of North Texas Athletics. He's been fantastic to this point in the season. All right, Josh Rodriguez, Ashton Genty of Boise State. For Chris Beam, for Patrick Walker, for Josh Rodriguez, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you tomorrow, Talking Tuesday. Give us a call, 888-855-2297. We'll see you then.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!